Histamine intolerance. What does it mean for women with endometriosis? Now, you may recall the post on the new endometriosis symptoms I was experiencing. After I caught some kind of infection, I'm thinking COVID, just before my period started. Heart palpitations, my anxiety is through the roof, high blood pressure, headaches, dizziness, and chills. I don't feel coherent at all. After some investigation, I concluded that what I was experiencing might in fact be an episode of histamine intolerance. Well, since then, I adopted a low histamine diet, which appeared to work. Then weeks later, I was unknowingly struck down by a UTI and ended up needing to take antibiotics around the time I was menstruating. And what do you know? I ended up experiencing a second round of heart palpitations, brain fog, and all of the symptoms I mentioned before. I was a foggy, nervous mess. This time round, I mapped out a gut repair protocol, and within 2 days, I started to feel better. I'll be sharing my gut repair protocol next week, so keep an eye out. Histamine is a big subject area and it's linked to various health issues. It needs a series of its own, so let me know if you're interested to learn more after this. For today, we'll just cover the basics. First of all, let's get clear on what histamine is. Histamine is a component of your immune system. It's a chemical that's released by your white blood cells, namely mast cells and basophils. And it's released when your body needs to get rid of allergens, toxins, or other harmful substances. And when it's released, it effectively causes allergy symptoms. So histamine is a completely normal immune system response, and it's essential for overall health. It also plays a part in digestion. Histamine stimulates the production of stomach acid to aid digestion, and it helps with gut motility, the movement of food throughout the GI tract. Histamine is also linked with our sleep-wake cycle, our memory, and stress response. So as you can see, it's a very necessary and useful mechanism of the body. When does histamine become a problem? When there's too much of it in your system. High levels of histamine typically occur because your body hasn't been able to break it down, so it starts building up. There are 2 main pathways in the body for breaking down and metabolizing histamine. One is via your digestive tract, your gut, with the enzyme known as DOA. Diamine oxidase. The other is via your nervous system and the lungs with the HNMT enzyme. Both of these enzymes require specific nutrients to make them work, namely vitamins B12, B6 and folate. So why would you have an issue with breaking down histamine? Well, some possible underlying reasons are genetic mutations, such as with the MTHFR gene, can mean that we're genetically predisposed to weaker detox pathways, which I believe I read somewhere is common in women with endometriosis. Then you have poor gut function by way of gut dysbiosis, SIBO, or leaky gut. If you have endometriosis, you'll know all about poor gut function. Such gut issues can lead to an increase in histamine because it's harder for the gut to break it down. Another reason for high histamine is estrogen dominance, another common issue in women with endometriosis. Too much estrogen in the body will increase histamine production and vice versa. Talk about a double-edged sword. And finally, there are foods that can increase histamine levels in the body. Some foods are high in histamine, such as fermented foods, canned foods, and processed meats, whilst other foods can trigger histamine release, both potentially resulting in histamine overload. So what happens when you have a lot of histamine in the body? You become sensitive to histamine or intolerant, and you might experience what's called histamine dumping. Just some L-glutamine powder in some water, always taking care of that gut. Histamine dumping happens when you have issues with breaking histamine down, and it can feel like, get ready for a long list of symptoms: itching, hives, stuffy or runny nose, acid reflux, body or headaches, sleep disturbances, rapid heartbeat, increased anxiety, mood swings and irritability, bloating, loose stools, redness and flushing, acne, extreme menstrual cramps, or heavy bleeding, unlike so many other symptoms. So histamine is basically linked to our immune system, our nervous system, our digestive tract, and our hormones. As with all conditions, everything is connected. I would love to delve more into histamine and endometriosis, histamine and our immune system, namely mast cell activation syndrome, histamine and the digestive tract, and all of the lifestyle and dietary changes you can make to help manage histamine intolerance. I've got like a 40-page research document, which is, like backed by studies and all that jazz, mainly from functional health and naturopath medicine. So let me know what you're most interested in learning about in the comments.